It was a ghost town, a desert, dead. Those are the words people used to describe it. 2 decades ago, downtown Tulsa was motionless after 5 o'clock.
Downtown had been suffering, like so many downtowns across the nation, a flight to the suburbs. And so that's just exactly what happened. They took off, and cheap land and available spaces out south just took everybody from the downtown going southeast.
Yeah, most people, I think, it just kind of abandoned the idea of coming down here at all. You know, it had been so long since they'd been down here for anything that they're just like, well, it's only vagrants down there, and you know, you're likely to get shot or whatever their belief happened to be of what was happening downtown.
But those who work in the trenches of downtown's revitalization effort can feel the change coming. The opening of the Mayo Building next month, and the current development of 119 downtown condos on Cincinnati, the Phil Tower Lofts, the Mayo Hotel, the Atlas Life Building, all could be the first visible milestones in the journey to bring downtown Tulsa back.
Well, there was a moment, and the moment was when the Center for Creativity was built by Seltzer Schaefer on a vacant surface parking lot, and I thought, this is the moment. We're actually building on an empty lot, and that means our downtown is coming back. We have a pulse again.
We are at the Mayo 420 building. This is a historical restoration building. We are in the entrance here where you have a beautiful view outside to all of the buildings in downtown Tulsa.
So what got the ball rolling? Why are we seeing so much growth in new projects now? Simply put, 3 things happened. The first 2 were political, and the third was a good old-fashioned story of someone taking a big risk against everyone's better judgment and being right. This is Derek Lee, an archivist for the Tulsa Foundation for Architecture. He's in charge of keeping all the blueprints for the old buildings downtown safe. The first step in the revitalization of downtown Tulsa was the adoption of the International Existing Building Code in 2001. It sounds more complicated than it was. Basically, the new rules said that developers could restore old buildings without having to meet the same requirements as new construction.
Sprinkle, having fire suppression systems. I mean, the ADA wasn't around. You didn't have to have access, wheelchair access to all the public. You didn't have to have all kinds of stuff that wasn't around then that you'd have to have now if you're building a new building.
This was huge.
How important was that? Would something like this be possible if Tulsa hadn't done that?
No, and even with that, it is difficult dealing with a lot of the code issues. It's very difficult to make a project work economically and have it be perfect. Do you design to the original building code, or do you design to the new one, or do you compromise somewhere in the middle? And so it's an interesting problem to solve.
And this is what makes the equation work for developers. They'll come in and they'll see these buildings that are clearly undervalued in the real estate market, and they'll be able to crunch the numbers in such a way, utilizing these incentives that make the projects work.
We have restored a historic door to close off from the living room so that if you wish to have privacy, this is original hardware from the Mayo building, and we have used a barn door assembly.
Vision 2025 was passed by voters in 2003. It dictated that a tax increase would fund construction for things like the BOK Center, but it also gave subsidies for apartment projects downtown.
The Vision 2025, the fact that the voters actually said, yes, we believe enough in our downtown and we believe enough in our city to vote in this tax increase, because they knew that otherwise we were just going to be left in the dust. And I think
the Mayo building got $3 million in Vision funds, which was just a drop in the bucket. But according to Emily Relator, it sent the right message to developers.
But it's what started the process of thinking, okay, if the city is willing to come up with some help and wants to see this happen, that's totally a pro attitude for a developer, which means you want to see the project happen. You're committed to your downtown, and I think a developer needs to see that. When you're in a blighted downtown, if a city is not interested in changing that, then the developer's risk becomes huge. There's at risk no matter what when you're forefront, but if your city is not pushing toward it also, then you're really hung out there with the risk.
They just maybe take a title, so it's founder, CEO of McNally's Group.
Against taking the job.
Yeah, I don't really want to. I was not excited about it. It's kind of one of the reasons I went into business for myself, so I didn't have to ever have a title, right?
You already know Elliot Nelson's bar. But what you may not know is that, save a couple of people, nobody thought this was a good idea.
Yeah. People were thrilled with it. No. I think most people would have told you I was crazy when I did it, which they were probably right. But there's no one down there. No one will ever go downtown after dark. After 5 o'clock, it's a ghost town. And I mean, all those things were true, but I guess for me, I always believed that the reason people were leaving downtown and that it was vacant after 5 wasn't because they didn't want to, or it was just because there wasn't anything to do. I mean, yeah, there's nobody down there because what are they going to be down there for? So
Nelson wasn't the first person to try something downtown, but some might argue that he was the first person to get it right, to get it really right.
When we built it, I had this vision, and in my original business plan, this is one of the things people really questioned me on when I was out trying to raise money or whatever it was, and that I had this belief of a pub as a place that, like, not only do people my age want to go in, but my dad will want to hang out there, my grandpa will want to hang out there, and like it's a place that is welcoming to everyone and not just 25-year-olds who want to go out and have a drink late at night. If anything, that's where maybe we got the ball rolling, that all of a sudden, you look around on a Wednesday night hamburger night and you see a bunch of Southern Hills members out there, and hopefully through McNally's we re-engage some of the right people, which I think, that's what the nightclubs and maybe Kaz's and some others weren't doing, that maybe all of a sudden we had a place where, these attorneys felt comfortable hanging out at after work instead of going back to Brookside. And so I think that's probably, more than anything where we help make a difference. And
McNally's success led by example, proving that people would come downtown, and they would stay downtown if there was a few nice places to enjoy. Whether or not people will want to live downtown is a question that remains.
And people living here are ready to have a downtown that's vibrant and open at night, and have restaurants and bars and grocery stores and parks and all kinds of stuff. And we don't have that right now. We have a glimpse of it.
And I think if you look at downtown to when I got back from college in 2001, if you look at it from then until now, I mean it's night and day. But on the grand scheme, we still got a ways to go to really have arrived, I think. And so
Oklahoma City has done amazing things. Omaha, Louisville, a lot of cities at the same kind of general level of density and population and as the city of Tulsa are at least a decade ahead of us in this. So let's go do it.